Welcome back to The Real Contrast.
I'm Kyle A.
I'm Brian K. From Home to Hearth, we bring the keys to success.
Love it.
All right, so last one, I think we wrapped up cracking the subject of lead gen.
Yeah. Old lead gen.
So should we get back to that?
Yeah, let's get back into the lead gen topic. I think what we were talking about is, what are the best ways to lead gen, but it was kind of a trick question.
Oh.
It was kind of a trick question as to there's really not a best way to lead gen. There's just really a lead gen.
There's best ways for you or me.
We nailed that.
They could be different.
Right.
Okay, so
Correct.
let's talk about best formats that you and I like to do. Let's also talk a little bit about the mindset, because the mindset journey is the deep, dark, ugly stuff that's like, hey, I can't do this, and no one's going to like me, and so we'll crack into that a little bit. And lastly, let's talk about the importance of lead gen. Actually, let's get that up to the front. The importance of lead gen. What's important about lead generation?
Well, for one, I would say if you don't have any clients, you don't have a business.
Until you have too many leads, you have no other problems.
Yeah, literally. And no money.
That was a quote. I took that from Gary Keller that had nothing to do with me.
Oh.
But I just passed it along. It's a pretty good one, though, right?
That's deep.
Yeah.
That's deep, but it's the truth. I mean, first and foremost, like, I could spend all my time knowing how to do all these contracts, but if I don't have a client, man, you could be the best negotiator in the world.
Yep.
In your mind, but if you don't have actual clients, then you're never going to be able to help negotiate.
So if you have a gas station and you've got brand new pumps, fresh coat of paint, brand new freezer holding the soda pop, and you have no cars coming in,
right?
You got no business, and we need the cars to come in. So
absolutely. How do you get them there?
How do you get the cars into the gas station, Kyle? Okay, so what's your go-to favorite form of lead generation?
Well, if I look back in my history, my favorite thing to do is talk.
Mm-hmm. You're good at talking.
But I love listening as well. Like, I love being around people. So I'm a people person.
Yeah.
Big time.
Mm.
Give me some of them peeps. But seriously, I enjoy, like I was just telling you before we got on podcast, like if my phone rang all day long with people just calling to say hi, I would be in hog heaven. That's who I am.
Remember me? I'm the guy that talked to you about fishing tackle 3 years ago in Walmart. Yay!
Yeah, I'm serious. Hey, how you doing, Bill? Mm-hmm. It's good to hear from you.
Yeah.
Because after a while, you build that relationship, and it can come out organically what you do. I mean, that's going to be a topic of conversation. It's not something that has to be pushed into, right? No. Like, hey, nice to meet you. I'm a realtor. I want to, like you were saying, I want to sell your house. Mm-hmm. Well, of course, any realtor wants to sell anything. I mean, that's logical. They want to sell real estate. That's what our job is. But there's also the human aspect of it. Right? Like if no one's calling me, let's say I'm at the office, I'm done with the office for the day, I've talked to like my sphere, with people on my sphere, and an hour goes by, I'm looking at my phone, who can I call? I'm going to call my brother. Okay, I just got done talking to my brother. I'm going to call my next door neighbor, Cody, to see how he's doing. Geez, I haven't heard from these guys in a while. And this is just my natural state.
Yeah.
So for me, that's what it is. It's just, I just love people.
Love talking to people. So we were talking a little bit off break, and networking is one of your strong suits when it comes to lead gen.
And I didn't even know that until you said it.
Right. And that's the struggle, I think, because we say lead gen, and for me, when I was a newer agent or learning business 101, even back 20 years ago when I started my first business, lead gen to me was advertising, right? Like, I need people to come to me. I need the cars to come into the gas station, right? Like, right. I can only do that by, phone book. This is 2001. Open the phone book. I had a mobile mechanic business.
Yeah.
And I went to all the limo companies and I wrote letters to them and sent them a flyer. And then I went to all the lawn care companies and I wrote letters to them and I sent it to them. It's freezing up and chopping a little bit there. It's a little bit behind. Because if I do this, it doesn't quite do it yet.
Well, we'll have to lead gen that.
All right, so let's see if it comes out okay.
All right.
Anyways, so and you know what? Doing a video about lead gen is just going to get us to open up and think more about ourselves too, right?
Absolutely.
So lead gen to me was we've got to get people to, and ultimately, if I could do anything, if I could go back and change my mindset, which I shouldn't, I wouldn't want to, but it would be that one piece going, okay, it's not about who can I find that wants to do business tomorrow, which is really good. Long term, if you look at this as a long-term business plan,
right?
Before you put in the new pumps, before you paint the gas station, before you get the new freezer, is this on a road that cars go by?
Right.
Right? Like
Yeah.
let's look at this long term, and I would go back and go, okay, it's about building relationships.
Right.
It's not about, and a lot of newer agents, more so the ones that may be struggling a little bit financially, which I was there.
Me too.
They're looking for that next piece of business sooner than later.
Right.
And the successful real estate model is just go out, give a bunch of love in somehow, some way. Now, you can help yourself. Talking to a for sale by owner, someone that's raised their hand that says, I want to sell my home, maybe sooner business than talking to your neighbor.
Right.
Both should happen.
Absolutely.
Sitting in an open house and having a buyer walk in might lead to quicker business than talking to the guy at the ice cream social.
Absolutely.
Both should happen. Right? And
Amen.
so, yeah. And so it's the long-term business is all in just massively compiling people in your phone that would work.
Well, and I think what I'm learning, and I'm with you, getting into this was a massive shift, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I love talking to people, but then all of a sudden, wait a second, I'm a realtor and I want to sell houses, and it was like two worlds colliding. Like, man, I would have been over there talking with Jeff, but now I won't because now I got this objective, right? So having to really rein that in and find your confident level, and it's a growth. It's like a energetic barrier, mental energetic barrier that you have to be able to overcome and put it together for yourself, because this has to work out for you. Like, I don't care who you are. If it's not right inside your heart, you are going to have disappointing time doing it. So the faster you can get into making it fun, enjoyable, a part of who you are, I think your success just compounds.
Yep.
You know, and at the end of the day, I used to have the hardest time, like me and you, like I don't lead gen, right? Because that word alone was a signifier that these people, in my heart, that these people were nothing but money to me. And that's absolutely not true. And that's not where you were coming from. And see, and I may have been prejudging you on that. Not that I ever thought you were a bad person. We wouldn't be sitting here today. I think you're an amazing human being.
Sure.
But the motives behind it, right? And ultimately, both of us were starving when we started this, man. We were on, like, you were about to lose your house.
Yeah.
I had to sell everything. So we both were kind of going through some of the same journey. And I was out door knocking in a need, and I hated that. Boy, did I hate that. But at the end of the day, somehow, whether I was unconscious of it or not, I was able to build these great relationships with people. They liked me. I liked them. And then they found out I was a realtor. And then one of my neighbors, a really good friend, I talk to him every Sunday. He has given me a whole bunch of referrals that is business now, right? They trust him because he's a fundamental part of our community here. He's an honest, outstanding person. And so I never realized it until you just kind of said it. Like, networking is my thing. So unconsciously, networking is my thing. And so, like, I've been thinking about getting into a network situation, and I already got some really good ideas that fit me. Not that it's for my benefit. It's just that this is where I feel comfortable at.
Yep.
And I think for any new agent out there, I think that's something. There's going to be some uncomfortable stuff going into with anything that's new, right?
Oh gosh, yeah. New or even existing stuff, because you're constantly adapting.
Yeah.
This business is not stagnant water. It's going to be most businesses are, and so you got to get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah. Well, I'm definitely not uncomfortable around people.
Nope.
And neither are you.
And so that's the funny thing, and we'll come back to that.
No. Let's hit that right now.
Yeah. And so to a point, I am.
Yeah.
And I will tell you that networking groups, as good as, I can tell you that when I go to some of these realtor functions, and my wife's high school graduation or large events like that, I do good at talking to people. If you didn't know what was going on inside, if you weren't my wife who I was talking to and being fully honest on the way there and on the way back, you wouldn't know any better.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people that I've talked to, that have the introvert extrovert syndrome, have similar and that's okay.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Right? Like you got to understand whether you're an agent or you're thinking about getting into some other entrepreneur business, like that's where the uncomfortable comes from, is pushing through that, going, you know what? I know that when I get there and I have a conversation with Kyle, I'm going to be a good listener. Right. I'm going to be able to carry on a good conversation. Right. And, whether or not we necessarily have business at the end of the day is not important to me. It's more about being there in the present, having that conversation, right. And then boom, down the line.
Yep.
One of my favorite forms of lead generation, or lead capture or relationship building, is sign calls. And so it does come around from marketing. I'm not great at I don't love the ads that are like, look at me, I'm a realtor.
Right.
Ads. But I have been very good, and it's taken a lot of practice at converting sign calls.
Yeah.
And so someone calls on 123 Main Street, very traditionally, and for a newer agent, you can get these, right? You can go and advertise Kyle's listing with his permission, within all the rights of your brokerage and state and blah, 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 blah. But you can get out there and you can get sign calls. You can put your sign, somehow, some way on a flyer or something else. Make your phone call. It's not easy.
Right.
But once that starts happening, a mistake that most agents make is they don't practice around the sign calls. And I can tell you that it's blown my mind when I've talked to some really successful agents that are like good at talking and everything. And they're like, yeah, I barely ever convert a sign call. And I'm like, oh my God. Yeah. Why? Because that first conversation, that first part of the conversation is like, hey, I'm calling about 123 Main Street. You're like, oh yeah, sure. What can I do for you? They say, I want to know how much it is. Right, because they're standing in front of the sign or something,
right.
Or they have called with intent for information.
Yeah, you don't say, well, you can check that out on Zillow.
What's the lot rent? Let me send you a link, and
Yeah.
The mistake that some agents make is they never answer the darn phone.
Oh.
And I've gotten business from them because the client the buyer will now just start calling people until they get someone that does answer the phone and starts answering questions. But that first part of the conversation is whatever information they're looking for. And generally speaking, if you just say, hey, here's the information that you're looking for, That's the end of the conversation,
Right.
and it's moving on.
Right.
And so it's tactful. It's about being tactful and getting into a conversation with them. And ultimately, people don't care what you know until they know what you care. They know that you care. And so,
Well, let's play this out.
yeah.
Let's play this out.
Yep.
I'm calling you.
Okay.
Ring, 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 ring.
This is Brian.
Hey, Brian. I'm sitting out in front of 123 Main Street,
Sure.
and I was just curious. What is the price of this?
Absolutely. Well, hey, and who do I have the pleasure of speaking with today?
Hey, my name is Kyle Andrews.
Kyle, well, thank you very much. I appreciate you giving me a call. And man, it is beautiful out there today. I bet you're sure glad that it wasn't out there yesterday, right?
Oh, absolutely. I wouldn't be standing here if it was yesterday.
Are you standing there or are you sitting in a car?
No, I was walking by.
Oh, I love it. Do you live in the neighborhood?
I do.
Like,
I do live in the neighborhood.
no, I know, but do you see how, like, none of this is weird?
No, absolutely not.
Right? So, already I've assessed that there's possibly a opportunity in interviewing for a listing in this
Right.
phone call. Because Kyle lives next door or in the neighborhood, might be interested in selling this house.
Maybe I'll give you my number.
You never know. And so, typically from there, I'm
Right.
going, okay, I'm getting ready to pull up and I'm judging, okay, tonality, pace. So if someone's just like, yeah, I need another, and then I'm coming back with a higher rate of speed, maybe a little bit different tonality. If someone's like, well, I was wondering if you could tell me, then I've got to like take a deep breath.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Let me. And so a lot of that has huge implications on actually being able to have a conversation in which that person will talk to you later.
So let's carry this on.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. So where were we? Weather.
Yo,
So you were still okay. So you're a neighbor.
I live in the neighborhood.
Oh, awesome! How long have you lived in the neighborhood for?
Oh, about 6 months.
6 months. Welcome to the neighborhood. What brought you to here?
I actually transferred over from work. I'm
Oh, what do you do?
sheet metal worker.
Like, did you do that on purpose? Because like that's the pony.
Yeah.
That is the meat and potato. As soon as
it just popped out.
like, yeah.
So we already know he's probably renting, maybe. Oh, let's just finish the conversation. Who knows? I don't even know who I am.
Okay, well, but what I want people to understand, I don't want to bore them with a complete role play, but what I want people to understand from that short conversation that we just had is you asked immediately up front what the price was or something. I don't know. I don't even, it doesn't matter because my goal, and I'll tell you this, if you really want to look like a stud, I have had so many listings at one juncture in time that I really did have to look things up on the computer at times because I'm like, I think that we did a price reduction. I'm not sure if the listing agent has got that in, like give me a second and I'll say, hold on a second while I pull that up on my computer. In the meantime, what brings you to the neighborhood or whatever it may be. But that's the conversation. And then sometimes you'll get people that are just like, just tell me what the price is. And I'm like, I don't want to work with you. It's $4.95.
Right. You know what? And
call Kyle.
Yeah, because I'll deal with it. And that's it. Like I'm pretty good at converting sign calls. Not a master at it. However, when I get a sign call, I talk to him about it, and then I tell him the price and what's going on with the house. Give him the best information I can. Let him know that I'm representing the seller. But before I hang up that phone, I make sure to ask them, especially if it's been a good conversation, would you like to build a relationship with another agent?
Money.
That's my question. It's just straight out, plain and simple. Like, are you working with an agent? No. I said, well, would you like to build a relationship with an agent?
So a couple of things about that. One, you're being very direct. You're being very you.
Right.
You're going to find your tribe by doing that. Two, it's a question that people don't necessarily ask when they go into an open house or if they've talked to other agents or things like that. So you're different. You're unique.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Too many people take the tactic of, okay, I need to sneak these guys into a house so I can meet them more, and then we'll sign some paperwork right before we do it. Like just be straight and real with people,
Yep.
and that ultimately is going to lead you to find the right people for you.
Absolutely. Side note, I just realized why my kid's always going, yep. Because I'm sitting here going, yep. and I'm always wondering why my son is going, yep.
I love it.
So I apologize for all the yeps.
All right. So I do want to touch base on mindset, and we are running. This is going to, let's keep going, because quickly.
Okay.
On mindset. What's the struggle? What's one of the struggles that you've had mindset-wise on lead gen? You talked a little bit about thinking that it was, you're just out for money.
Yeah.
Right? Any other struggles that you've had, or you want to dig deeper into that?
Yeah, so I'll be really, really honest. Getting into business, like I said, I love people. And so now I was coming into this, and whether it was true or not is not the point. It was happening inside me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I had this issue, this, like, you could say devil and good guy, an angel,
Mm-hmm.
which really don't exist. It was just my illusion, where it was, here I am. Now all of a sudden I had this mission because I needed to make money for my family, and this is what I chose to do. But it formed a whole new, kind of criteria in my mind of how I would approach stuff. So it set me back, man. It set me back so much, because here I am in a new industry. Like, I'm good at meeting people, but now I'm meeting people because I have an agenda, right? There's this agenda.
At least that's what you thought.
Right. And so I did not know how to bring them in together. So now I after almost 5 years, it's pretty simple. I just be Kyle, and there was nothing bad about it, man. I'll be sitting at a swimming pool, for my kid. I'll be like, hey, I just want to, give you a business card. We've had several conversations. Or hey, are you a firefighter? Because I'll wear my firefighting stuff. They'll start the conversation. No, actually, I am a firefighter, but I'm a volunteer. What I do for a living is real estate. Here's a card. It's that. It become very simple, but I had to get out of my own mind.
Yeah.
Because I could go out and do stuff for people all day long and go broke.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But I could also go out and do stuff for people and not go broke.
Yeah.
How about you, Brian?
One of my struggles, and I think that a lot of newer agents, maybe even some, long-time agents have found this, is the everything has to be perfect mentality. Okay, so before I can go lead gen, and I can't door knock without business cards, right?
Right.
Like, I mean, you got to have a business card. You just can't do that, right? But the business card has to be a reflection of me.
I was there.
And so it's got to be good, and man, that's not my best photo. And the next thing you know, you spent 20 grand on a photo session. 4 months later, you've got the perfect business card picked out. What? So that it can be recycled, right? So what a lot of people struggle with is the actual process of lead generating, having the conversations.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we've reflected on from me and my business coach this year is making messes. Okay, like I want my desk to be just perfect and everything else, right? And while you should have a good work environment, sometimes, especially if business is slow, the market's down, whatever it may be, if you don't have enough business, there is one thing that you can do, and it's not making better business cards. You can do that.
Right.
But it's having more conversations.
Absolutely.
Because ultimately, maybe that percentage of people goes down, but it's just a numbers game. That's all this business is. And I say that in a very cold way, which we've had conversations, but when you look at it, if I just go out and love on 100 people, I'm going to have a much better opportunity of doing more business if I only love on 5.
Yeah, well, and so I want to clarify, it's just a numbers thing, because it is a numbers thing until you build that relationship. getting the chance, because look, I can go talk to 1,000 people at a grocery store without anything on my mind, and some of them are going to tell me to go F off. Or they don't even want to have a conversation. And you know what? On my day-to-day stuff, I'll just look at myself and go, wow, she was rude, or, whatever, make up some excuses to justify my own thoughts about it, right? But at the end of the day, there's going to be this one guy who you have a awesome conversation with. Next thing you know, you're out fishing with him. So that was just a numbers game, except we weren't paying attention to it.
No, absolutely. And the
does that make sense?
Okay. I struggled because I thought I was playing real estate, and that's such an easy thing to do. I'm playing real estate. Well, I'm driving over here to do this, and I'm having this coffee with this person. I'm doing this, and I'm doing this, and I look at my bank account, and I'm like, man, I really wasn't paying real estate that well because I'm broke.
Yeah.
So when you're looking at it, you're going, okay, what can I do to actually drive that needle? And it's conversations, and the more conversations that you can have, the more business you're going to do. That's why I say it's just a numbers game.
Right.
But if you're spending time on perfecting that logo, or you're spending time moving the paper clips from the left side to the right side.
Hey, the logo was a big, I'm not going to, okay, I get what Brian's saying. I'm not going to bash somebody for worrying about their logo. However, I think there's right steps. Like, my logo was important to me, and you know that.
Of course.
But I worked with the cheap cards until I had my logo right. I worked with dude, my very first pictures I got were so horrible. I paid this lady, she was new at it. It was like $400, right? It was so, and I could have went and got Keller Williams had it. They would do it for free just for being with them, right?
Sure.
As a new agent. Oh, I should have done that. So I threw those away, wasted $400. So you're absolutely right. And you know what? Guess what? After getting all in and you're in it $5,000-$6,000 and you ain't got even one deal, there's better ways to go about it. So this is coming from where you're saying this is coming from experience of what you've seen and and what's actually taking place. So and I was one of those guys, but I love handing out my business cards because they reflect my heart. And so for me, having those business cards top notch was the best thing to do. It actually helped me hand out more. Whether they're going in the garbage or not, it's just a numbers game.
Right? And if that's what helps you and your mentality, do it.
That's not exactly what you're saying.
My point is that it's not just the business cards, because then it becomes the flyer for the open house, and then it becomes and so here I do a lot of open houses. A year ago, I went from being on a team to being solo, and I'm chucking along. I'm setting up my open house, and here it is Saturday morning. Okay, I'm getting ready to go do my open houses, and I realize I don't have any business cards that don't have the team logo on it.
Yeah.
Okay, so now should I just shut down the open house? No, because when I'm in the open house, no one gives a crap about whether I'm on the team. That has zero to do with it. It's still my same phone number, still my same email.
Right.
At the end of the day, I don't think I gave out any of those business cards, and I can easily capture or get someone's information and just call them back.
Right.
Instead of giving them a business card and hoping that they're calling me because of my skill set. And that's where a lot of agents are just ready, aim.
Got it.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say this is now that I've went through all, I've made the poor decisions. Well, they weren't poor. I made different decisions that reflected what I didn't want to do, I guess, to a certain degree. And now, like, if I was going to be a new agent, if I was going to, right now, I'd take the free business cards. I would not worry too much about flyers right off the bat. I mean, you can go to any lender, they'll print you up flyers. The first thing I would do was get my database in order, period. Because the database, that is your lifeline. And that's what I'm learning. And you know what? The people that you put in there, I love hearing from them, and they love hearing from me.
Bingo.
And that's it.
Yep.
I think we wrap this one up.
Wrap it up like a Christmas present.
Well, everybody, thank you so much for joining Real Contrast.
Yeah, hey, if you guys like this, smash that like button, subscribe to it. It'll tell you when we come up with new content and put it out. We're doing about 2 a week, so bringing massive stuff to you guys. We're gonna keep doing this.
Yeah, well, if we can, if we could